Alrighty, guys, we are live. Just quick test, everyone can still hear me?
GM.
GM.
Yep, coming through.
Awesome. Alrighty, GM everyone, and welcome to our latest Community Spotlight Party. We really appreciate all of you who are tuning in with us here today. As always, in our Spotlight parties, we like to bring on some of the coolest and most innovative projects building on top of Scroll. And this week we're joined by none other than Charles and Samson from Law Finance. So welcome, guys. It is great to have you both on.
Thanks, Liam. It's great to be here. Hello, everyone.
Amazing.
Yeah, nice to meet the community. Hello, everyone.
Yes. Cool. So before we get started with today's agenda, let us quickly run through a round of intros so that all of you guys can get to know us a little bit better. Starting with myself, my name is Liam. I work on the communications team at Scroll. Generally, my role revolves around community building efforts with a heavy focus on social media and content work. Outside of my work at Scroll, I love to get involved with all sorts of Ethereum discussions, so you might see me poking around X or in a few different Discord servers here or there. But yeah, let's move on to our guest for today. So let's start with Charles and then of course Samson. But guys, please tell us a little bit about who you are, what your roles are, and how you found your way to law.
Sure. So, hi, I'm Charles. I lead growth at Lore, or at least Samson and I kind of tag team growth together. But yeah, how I found my way to Lore, that's an interesting question because our team has been together for a really long time. And we've been building a lot of stuff in DeFi over the course of several years. So I guess I've been working with the team. We're called Conclave, by the way, formerly known as the Byte Masons. Maybe some people are familiar, but yeah. So essentially, we wanted to build something on Scroll because we think Scroll's dope, and so we did. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe Samson can fill in some color if he'd like. But that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Yeah, we all found each other back in kind of like the ends of DeFi summer, when there was a blockchain called Phantom, which I'm sure is very popular still, but is now rebranding. We all got together and just were like trying to figure out DeFi and how this was going to change finance and change how we interacted with our money. And yeah, it was an exhilarating time, and we just built tools to help each other kind of make that less of a headache. Obviously DeFi is a new thing, and so we're all trying to figure out how to best navigate these things. And yeah, we just sort of came together as a collective with some shared values and are now trying to build an efficient stack of technology to make DeFi unbeatable and the only path forward for finance to truly blossom. I guess yeah, go ahead, Liam.
Oh no, you're right. If you're still going, go ahead.
Well, I guess in terms of background or like what I work on, yeah, I mostly take care of growth and operations for the business and try and keep all the pieces moving. Running DeFi software is it's still a bit more cumbersome than it should be. So we're still making a lot of efforts to slim things up and make them truly effortless moving forward. And we can talk about some of those developments today and how we're trying to pioneer in that space. And yeah, my background was in gaming, actually, I suppose, gaming and marketing. And I just loved the puzzle of DeFi. It really attracted me and has kept my attention. And yeah, you get to work with a lot of really cool people. And I encourage everyone to try and find work in this new internet. It's much cooler than the old one, although the hours can be a little bit crazy. I'm sure Liam can attest.
Yes, and I encourage everyone to challenge Samson to a game to see if they can beat him. We're trying to incorporate some sort of community challenge or like some sort of rewarded activity that involves beating Samson at a game that he is pretty good at, because the man is a serious gamer. So if anyone in the community thinks they're good at gaming, reach out and join our community and challenge Samson. That's all.
Let's go. Yeah, would love to see you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. Gaming to Web3. I love it. No, awesome. I hope everyone listening got a little bit of insight into everyone who's speaking here today. So thank you for that. But cool, with the intros all done and dusted, let's get straight into today's agenda. Basically, how this call is going to work is that I'm going to ask you guys a series of questions about Lore and its product suite. In addition to that, I've also collected a couple of community questions from the Lore Discord server today, and we can unpack those towards the end. I'm sure we might get some questions in the chat too, so we can probably go through those as well. But yeah, to kick things off, let's start by just providing the community with a general overview of Lore before we dive into the product side. I won't point the questions at anyone in particular, I guess, but you guys just feel free to decide who should kind of approach each question. I'll leave that up to you.
I'll take the first swing, Charles, I guess, if you want to follow up after. So Lore is the culmination of about 3.5 years of work now, building a variety of different solutions to DeFi's problems. You can think of it as the easiest way to get leverage on Scroll. It's also the best place to earn yield on Ethereum on Scroll. And that's sort of what we want Lore to be, is just a cohesive Ethereum aligned yield hub. And yeah, we're trying to create something that's sticky, something that's fun to use, something that also can be really rewarding and allow for some unique strategies. So we have a variety of different technologies to sort of create that. The first is a typical sort of lending market, similar to like an Aave V2. If people are familiar with these things, feel free to ask questions and we can dig into those details if you wish. But we've also put on top of this Aave market a CDP platform, which is a collateralized debt position. And this allows users to deposit an asset and mint at 0 interest using a stablecoin model pioneered by Liquidity to mint loreUSD, which is a nice, cool stablecoin derivative that you can trade on Nuri, which is a leading exchange on Scroll as well, which you guys should all check out. And yeah, you can now take these assets and leverage them and explore DeFi with that leverage as you wish. So yeah, we're pretty excited about this product. The real innovation is that we've connected the CDP and the market together to form one piece of infrastructure. And what that means for Scroll is the capital efficiency of the money that's on the network when it's in Lore is way more productive than any of the counterparties. And we've seen a 17 times improvement over Liquidity's traditional model. So it's a pretty serious step improvement in capital efficiency for decentralized stablecoins. And because it's built on Liquidity and Aave, it's really battle tested. And we've kept that core infrastructure, that core architecture the same. We do have around 28 audits to date on this entire stack of technology. So it's something that we do try and get a lot of eyes on. And I guess like the other pieces of that technology really quickly, and then Charles can maybe dig into his favorite piece. But we also have an option token, which helps create a really cutting edge economic flywheel. And we also have time-weighted staking rewards. This is something that the Byte Masons pioneered back in 2022 with the release of Reliquary, which allows for users to earn more rewards for the longer they hang out. So without forcing users to lock up, we can incentivize people hanging out for longer, really. And we call that being sticky. So yeah, Reliquary was a huge innovation, and we like to put it in all of our products where we can. So Charles, was there anything that you wanted to kind of dig into a bit deeper from that intro?
Yeah, sure. You pretty much you covered a lot there, so thanks for leaving me so much to talk about. No, I'm kidding.
I do have a suggestion if you need.
No,
I'm
let's see if
cutting
we're on the
myself
same
short.
page here. So
Okay.
I wanted to just explore a little bit further what you mean when you said we've connected the CDP and the lending market, and why it's so capital efficient. So what that means is that when you or I or any user mints loreUSD on the CDP, obviously they have to put down collateral. It's an over collateralized stablecoin. So a user will, let's say, deposit some ETH and mint loreUSD against it. That ETH is then sent to the lending side of the lending market to be lent out to borrowers and to earn a yield. And when we originally launched this product, our first iteration of the CDP, it allowed for rehypothecation. So that's called when when you take the collateral and you rehypothecate it to somewhere else to earn yield. It originally allowed for the rehypothecation to external protocols, very battle-tested protocols, Yearn, Aave, things like this. But essentially, as you spend more time in DeFi, you want to reduce your exposure to external parties, even if they're extremely battle-tested. We trust our tech, and we don't really trust many other parties' tech, to be honest. So that's essentially where we found the conclusion is to, okay, let's just connect our own lending market and the CDP in one product, and then we can just rehypothecate to our own lending market and keep everything in house. And so, yeah, that's essentially what Samson means when he says we've connected the two, and that's why it's so capital efficient, because that sort of marriage drives down borrow rates for borrowers on the lending market. It earns yield for the stablecoin minters, and it just makes each dollar in the system work that much harder.
Yeah,
Was
it
that what you
also
were thinking
means,
about,
Charles.
Samson?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It also lets us only incentivize borrows on the market itself, which is a big advantage in terms of keeping emissions low. And I'll take a moment to sort of highlight Lore was doing like an initial farm offering. So for the past couple of weeks, there's been quite a large distribution, which we're now tapering off. So it's going to be, it's not that the yields will be low by any means. It's just that they're going to be more controlled. So definitely recommend you come check out the markets page and see what it pays to take a loan out on Lore and explore loreUSD, because when you are using loreUSD, even just as like a means of farming USD exposure, you're helping to grow Scroll way more than any alternative decentralized stablecoin, or stablecoin for that matter, because every dollar of loreUSD is actually creating so much more network value that Charles was highlighting. So we're really passionate about people discovering, if you're bullish on Scroll and want it to be as big as possible, then you should really consider loreUSD as a means of scaling Scroll to new heights. So Liam, do you want to maybe interject here and pick on if anything's interesting there?
Yeah, for sure. No, thank you very much for that very, very good intro. I actually think you touched on a lot of the questions in that, so awesome stuff. But no, really, really cool to hear you guys are working on some great cutting edge stuff, particularly around loreUSD, which we will get into in a little bit. But yeah, I guess we can move straight into the first topic, I guess. So I guess for anyone who spends like a decent amount of time on crypto Twitter, you'll obviously see a bit of discussion around old school DeFi falling a bit out of favor to some degree, at least in comparison to what the DeFi industry looked like in 2020 and 2021, which Samson and Charles, of course, would know from being builders back then as well. Yeah, I want you guys to unpack a little bit about, why you think people are feeling this way, and how Lore is positioning itself to help change that perception, particularly when it comes to building out more sustainable products, especially the ones you've already gone over. But yeah, more sustainable DeFi in like this market that's constantly evolving.
Do you want to go first, Charles?
Yeah, sure. I can sort of take a swing at this. Yeah, well, it's honestly it's a bit of a tough topic to talk about and be as bullish as I am on sustainability and capital efficiency right now, because anyone who's been sort of around this year has noticed DeFi not being in the most favorable light, or just DeFi taking having a bit of a tough year or two, or I guess almost 3 now. And yeah, like trying to build sustainable products is very difficult. Trying to scale them is very difficult when the attention of the masses, most users, are on maybe like some more gamified things, meme coins, things that are designed to keep your attention. And yeah, so I would say like this is something that needs to be done, and this, like, building sustainable decentralized products is extremely important in the long run, and will become increasingly important. It's also kind of the only way as a business or as builders, or as a protocol, to outlast, unless you are a pump fund or something like this. So yeah, what was my conclusion there? I guess my conclusion is it needs to be done, and at the moment I wish there was more excitement around sustainable DeFi in general. But I see this as something that it's kind of the only thing I want to build, and eventually users and the greater adoption of DeFi depends on real sustainable financial primitives being built. So it's the excitement around it comes and goes, but it is not something that's as fleeting as what's capturing the attention of the user today or tomorrow. I hope that made sense. I kind of rambled a bit there, but yeah.
I can pick up and I guess tie it into the L1 v L2 part of the question. I think there were some good points, Charles. I guess why, speaking back to even just our experience at the start of the call when we mentioned that we sort of met together on Phantom. We were on Phantom, which was an L1, because it was affordable and it was fast. Whereas Ethereum at the time, it felt like we missed the party on that one, and we couldn't afford the outrageous, fees, like approving costing so much. So regardless, something had to be done about accessibility. It can't really be decentralized finance for all if when something goes wrong, it costs $200 to remove your money from the platform. And, if you only have $1,000 in, things like that, these are the problems that L2s are solving for real people. That's the user experience. But the other reason why DeFi should be on L2s is just that we can have higher throughput, but still all inherit that security from Ethereum. And really, I think the other thing is because there is all of this room, there's much more room for innovation as well on layer 2s. And we've seen that with special protocols that launch on specific chains. Some even so specific that they make their own layer 3. That's not an uncommon thing that we've seen. And I guess the reasons why against would be liquidity. It's just expensive and difficult, and when you add another chain, you're creating another ledger that needs to be serviced by liquidity providers, and that fragments it across. So there is this issue of perhaps worse trades per network or whatever else, but that'll be solved with time, with new innovations, better arbitrage bots, things of that nature that will eventually, I think, plug the whole thing into a big spider's web. And not everything will connect, but a lot of it will. So
yeah,
there are some challenges. Go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off. I thought you were done. I'm sorry. I was just going to say, because I kind of missed the L1, L2 part of the question entirely. My point there is, I think, is similar to Samson's, where I think solving the problem of defragmenting liquidity is an easier problem in the long run than building one monolithic network layer that can scale to 1 billion users securely. It's like right now the monolithic L1 looks really awesome, but we still haven't reached the scale, haven't even come close to the scale of how many users we want to service in Web3. And I think that scaling one or two networks to hit that huge adoption is extremely hard. And building generalized messaging that can pass between multiple modular L2s, I think is an easier problem. But that's just my intuition, and from conversations I've had with smart people, I don't have a claim to know that, as I'm not a blockchain developer.
Yeah, I see the L1 being essential for security and really high value operations, and the L2 is rather going to be what mainstream finance uses, to be honest, because at that point, like Charles is saying, that the real challenge is just the user experience and the composability and keeping the liquidity intact between all these different layers. But it's almost certain to be multi-layered. I couldn't imagine it not being. And I don't imagine there's many L1 enthusiasts that are sad about L2s. I don't know why they would be. Yeah. It's just better for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Even a couple of days ago, there was a lot of discussion on Twitter about, DeFi belongs on the L1. It's dangerous to have it on the L2s. And, I kind of keep saying as well to people, eventually these rollups are going to decentralize. First we'll go stage 1, then stage 2, and there'll be, the inbuilt escape hatches and that sort of thing. So we're going to get there to a state of complete decentralization at some point. And to your point, Samson and Charles, obviously we're scaling the L1 as well, but that's going to take a very, very long time. So we have L2s today. So, we can do great things like Lore Finance today because of L2. So yeah, no, that's really, really cool. And I absolutely agree with what you guys are saying there. But yeah, cool. So I think now is a good time for us to jump into the topic of stablecoins. I know you guys just launched loreUSD, and we'd love for the community to hear a little bit more about, how the stablecoin works, from my understanding, anyone can now mint the stablecoin for 0% interest, which is really cool, and then use it to generate, additional yield through a number of strategies directly through Lore. And of course, it will be integrated in various protocols throughout Scroll's DeFi ecosystem at some point in the future. But yeah, can you guys give us a rundown and give us and talk us through some of the strategies and how they compare to other DeFi protocols that we have available today?
Yeah, for sure, Samson. I'm going to work on getting a screen share going. If you wouldn't mind taking the lead on this one as well. Sorry to put it all on your shoulders here, but yeah, let me set this up.
So over the past number of years, we've been, while we do try and take the lessons from the giants of our industry, like Aave and Liquidity, we haven't just copy and pasted them in. There have been what we would consider to be improvements. And one of them is the ability for multi-collateral support for a Liquidity token. So yeah, we can accept collateral in the form of ETH, USDC, wrapped staked ETH, wrapped ETH, like Ether ETH, Puff ETH, which I think is the funniest sounding of the lot, and then Stone. And I don't know if that's connected to Puff ETH or not. I'm kidding, of course. That's just a funny joke. But those the four final collaterals I listed out, they're all LSTs or LRT collateral. So ETH farmers rejoice because now you can actually bring those assets to Lore and open up a position minting out a CDP called loreUSD. And I'll repeat that a CDP is a collateralized debt position. So that's the last time I'll mention it this call, but it just means that we've created a token that represents the debt, and you get to manage that amount of leverage and then take that loreUSD into Scroll and use it to exchange for any other token using Nuri.exchange or ODOS or your favorite swapping platform. And if we're not there yet, feel free to let us know and we'll get on that as well, because our goal is to make loreUSD as accessible as possible, and also the means of new protocols entering Scroll having a native stablecoin that, when used with, will net the Scroll network the most impact through our generalized rehypothecation. Big word, but all I'm saying is that we're able to earn money. There's no idle money in our system. We're able to really squeeze every drop to make the most amount of revenue for Scroll and have the money as active as possible. So that's everything we do is towards that end of how do we get people actually making money on Scroll. So Charles, how are you going?
I have shared it. I think it might need to be brought on stage. But picking that up a bit, yeah, like loreUSD is a very awesome, very secure, very backed stablecoin. But generally users, don't care too much about that. They want yield. That's, everybody wants yield. I want yield, especially on my ETH. And honestly, I can say pretty objectively that it is one of the best places to get yields on Scroll and across a lot of other L2s as well. Like if, because we're not a huge protocol. We don't have, 10,000 eyes on us all the time. That means if you're using Lore, you are already a part of some alpha, and the alpha is you can earn a pretty high yield on a stablecoin because it doesn't get diluted as much as, say, like an Aave would, because Aave, every user in DeFi is looking at Aave all the time. I had another point and then I just lost it. But yeah, I mean that's the gist of it. And There's a couple ways you can do this. So I guess the first one I'll talk about is the stability pool. Is there any way to bring this, to share this screen that I've shared? If not, that's totally fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I also wanted to shout out my our teammate UV. He has been posting. I forget what his Twitter handle is. Oh God, maybe Samson will remember. But he's been posting some strategies about lore on his personal Twitter that involve, you know, certain steps and lead you to really nice yield on some blue chips. But like I said, I'll talk about the stability pool first. So if anyone isn't familiar with Liquidity architecture, hey, look at that, beautiful. All right, let me bring up the dashboard. But yeah, if anyone isn't familiar with Liquidity, the way that liquidations work to keep the stable stable, to keep it at peg, to help the health of the system. The liquidations are done internally. So what that means is, you know, when loreUSD, you know, dips below $1, someone will buy it off the market, and they will redeem it on Lore.finance for some collateral. And by buying it off the market, they're raising the price, bringing it back to $1, and they're redeeming it. You know, let's say it's at 99 cents. The system is treating it at $1, so they're redeeming it for, you know, 1 cent more of collateral than they bought the loreUSD for. So that's kind of the way redemptions work. Liquidations is when you know, someone, you know, the collateral in the system, or, you know, any specific user's position, their collateral is not sufficient to back the stablecoin. So let's say the minimum collateral ratio on ETH is $1.08 per loreUSD borrowed. If the value of that ETH goes down to $1.06 per loreUSD borrowed by a user, they will get liquidated. So this is where the stability pool comes in. And the stability pool is a big pile of loreUSD that is used to close underwater positions, or not as collateralized positions as the system would like. I know I kind of just talked my way in a circle there. That wasn't the most clear explanation, but essentially the point is that the stability pool facilitates liquidations for the protocol, and then makes liquidation income on top by doing this. And then on top of that, we can add a nice APR on top of that. So the first thing you can do with your loreUSD is you can mint it, and you could buy it, and you can deposit it into the stability pool, and you can assist in keeping the system healthy by offering up your loreUSD for liquidations, and you can earn liquidation income in the form of all the collateral that backs loreUSD, and you can earn, you know, 40% in our reward token, and that's just a single-sided stablecoin pool. So that's really cool. I hope I didn't confuse you at the beginning, but yeah, this pool is very powerful because you know, it earns yield for the stablecoin holders. It facilitates liquidations, and it effectively turns, you know, yield on volatile assets into stable yield. So like, yield on volatile assets, being the collateral, is going to be higher than stable yield generally across DeFi. And what you're doing is you're turning market volatility into your own yield. So when the markets take a crazy dive and a bunch of people get liquidated, as a stability pool depositor, you are earning liquidation income, and that isn't not even reflected in this APR here. So I like to say that you're exposing yourself to the volatility of the market without exposing yourself to the price. So when the market's really volatile, that's really good for stability pool depositors, and they're just holding a holding a stable coin in this pool and earning a bunch of rewards. So that was pretty long-winded, but yeah, we can move on to another strategy, and maybe I'll pass it over to Samson so you can clean it up a bit.
Well, I they're pretty complex, the
Yeah.
CDPs. They're not the most beginner-friendly product. The lending market is much simpler to manage in that way, but once you master the CDP, it is an absolute weapon. And yeah, the stability pool, what Charles was saying, I guess if I could explain like I'm 8 or something, is whenever the market goes down and people can't afford their leverage anymore, as a stability pool depositor, you reap the benefits of that mismanagement. And the APRs during those days are excessive. It's quite an amazing product, to be honest. And what's cool about it is it's entirely internal. So when you supply to that pool, you are the treasury that's backing or backfilling positions that are getting close to being unhealthy, which is far from under collateralized as well. There's a pretty good buffer. I think on Ethereum it's 8%. So yeah, each collateral type is independent, and you can actually open them up in the interface as well to sort of see the current position of the entire collateral type, because it's actually managed per collateral bin. So yeah, we're kind of getting into the complexities of the CDP. They're a challenge to have a good user experience with, not something that we recommend for first-time DeFi explorers. But there's also a lot to gain from starting to experiment with this. And our Discord is a really friendly community, so highly recommend that you come ask all your questions. And we also have a number of tutorial videos that can help make things a bit easier.
Yeah, and I'll just add one more thing to that. A lot of the verbiage and a lot of the things involved are pretty complicated, but I honestly don't think that it's that much more complex than using a lending market. The outcome and the process is generally the same, where like I'm assuming most of you have used the lending market. You put down collateral and you borrow another asset, or you borrow the same asset. Here, it's the exact same. You're putting down collateral, being one of these 6 collateral types, and you're borrowing an asset, and in this case, it's loreUSD. And essentially, you just have to make sure that the value of your collateral is enough to collateralize your position and not get liquidated. It's the same thing on Aave. You put down ETH, you borrow USDC. It's the same idea, right? So, if you understand that and you understand that you have to keep your position healthy, I'd say that's all you need to get started. And then, once you open your position, you can, you can familiarize yourself with all these terms here. But I would say, having a deep understanding of all these things isn't totally necessary. I would definitely recommend it, but the process of minting it is the same as any other, lending market.
Very, very true.
Yeah. So let's move on to Nuri. If my
yeah, I guess I'm just trying to maybe scare people off so they don't come dilute
right
these yields.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Big brain. Yeah. So yeah, Samson, I don't know. Do you wanna take? I can play around with the front end a bit here. Do you want to talk about Nuri? I know you're a you're a Ramsey guru.
Yeah, I'm happy to introduce Nuri really briefly. This is the exchange that we've come onto the Scroll decentralized market with. And essentially, it's just a liquidity marketplace where different pools are fighting for emissions each week. And yeah, we have a number of pools set up on Nuri. The main one that I think Charles is going to want to show off is the loreUSD USDC pool, which is kind of like a stable. If anyone's familiar with Curve Finance, it's a stable swap pool from Curve, but it's been launched and put into this emission marketplace. I hope that's clear. So yeah, essentially it's pretty set and forget on the user side. You just deposit USDC and loreUSD in this case, and you'll receive an LP token, which you then stake on the platform to earn emissions. And yeah, you'll be then facilitating trades between, for other people that don't want to manage that CDP, they can just purchase your loreUSD and maybe create some more arbitrage opportunities. And yeah, Charles, what did you want to explore on here?
Yeah, the first thing I'll say is that you can see it's a legacy pool, which means it's not concentrated liquidity. So, we have another CL pool set up here, and I'd like to get this going shortly, because that it increases trade routes or it improves trade routes for loreUSD, it deepens liquidity. But generally, we like to start with a legacy pool because a lot of LPs don't want to manually manage concentrated liquidity positions. So yeah, just to mention that you don't need to pick a range or manage a range or anything like that. You can just deposit and just leave it in there and earn this insane APR for a stable pool. This is what I mean. Like, people aren't really paying attention to this, or maybe they're not so familiar with loreUSD, where they're like, okay, it's it's a new stable. I don't know anything about it. I don't want to touch it. Now that all of you are so familiar, now that after this amazing explanation that we've given you, but this should be getting diluted more, in my opinion. And I welcome you to dilute Samson and I. Yeah, and so like Samson said at the end there, again, if the CDP stuff you want to take your time with, if you want to learn more about it before you go minting loreUSD, you can just buy it. You can just swap for it, and you can just put it in the stability pool, or you can just buy it and put it in this LP. That's totally one way to go, and that is also really good for the system, because you're creating arbitrage opportunities. As people buy it and the price goes above $1, other people will come in and mint more to bring the price down. So however you go about it, it's more loreUSD in circulation, and that's what we want to see. So yeah, this APR, like Samson said, this is a solidly style DEX, and I like the way you put it, Samson, where it's like the liquidity marketplace. But essentially, every week we incentivize voters, which are Nuri holders, VE Nuri holders, to vote for our pool and direct emissions there, which is this. This is how much Nuri this pool is earning this week. So every week we will incentivize voters, and then this pool will receive Nuri emissions, and those are liquid rewards, and you can build up a Nuri position yourself, or you can sell them, or you can do whatever. And so yeah, each week we are trying to scale this pool more and more. So you can expect, maybe this upcoming, I think the epoch rolls over on Wednesdays, so you can expect this upcoming epoch. This could be more, this could be slightly less. It actually depends on the price of Nuri as well. But that's essentially what it is. You're earning Nuri emissions as an LP in this pool. We are really tight with this team. To another point about capital efficiency, this system that this solidly model that the Ramses guys, the Velodrome team, and a couple others have really done well with, or really they've sort of cracked the model and made it successful. It's really good for protocols in terms of incentivizing liquidity, because essentially, let's say we incentivize voters with $2,000 of whatever ETH or lore or whatever we want to use. typically, almost always, you will get more of the value in Nuri tokens sent to the pool than you incentivize voters with. So essentially, we're getting a greater than 1x ROI on our incentives rather than just sending incentives straight to the LPs. So this is why these DEXs are great for protocols, because you can build up liquidity for cheaper than you would on like a standard, you know, Uni V2 style DEX. So yeah, I didn't really have anything else there, but
check out the ETH
come
Lord
dilute me.
pool, and
Yeah,
also check out on the staking page on Lore. There's also Lore staking, and that's pretty wild. That's just like mainly Ethereum. It's kind
indeed.
of
Yeah,
Scroll's best kept secret. Charles showing off his bag here.
my tiny. This is a demo wallet for all these sleuths. But yeah, so maybe this is a good opportunity to highlight this maturity multiplier, like Samson was mentioning at the very beginning, where this APR that you're receiving is going to grow at the longer you are in the pool. So essentially, it introduces a time component to staking, where you stake, you leave it in there, and your maturity grows over time. And so right now, since I've been in here for however long, I'm getting almost 5% higher APR than someone who is entering the staking pool today. And so what this does is it makes capital sticky. It makes people stick around without requiring them to lock any tokens. We generally don't like making people lock tokens, and we want your positions to be liquid because everybody loves that. But it still favors people who have been in the pool for longer, and you know, discourages mercenary capital from coming in and diluting everybody who's been in there for a while.
Yeah, I describe it as like a loyalty perk. And yeah, it's set to cap at a 1.5 maturity multiplier after 6 months. So if you hang out for 6 months, it will reach that max earning potential. And if you were to, at 6 months, add another, like say double your position, it would have your maturity. So you would lose 3 months of maturity, since you're introducing, you know, you're diluting that maturity. So it's protective if you're in earlier. And the other thing I want to highlight with it is that it's an NFT. So you can actually then sell that NFT to another person. You can trade it. You can put it on an NFT marketplace and, you know, transfer it, which is pretty cool. And in the future, we hope to explore something like a marketplace to allow users to actually, you know, get paid for their time with us beyond the inherent yield. You know, actually, like, imagine you hang out for 6 months and then you split it in half, and then, you know, you sell half to someone else that wants to pay you a premium for that time that you've been in the system. That's kind of what we're trying to create with it. So yeah, pretty cool stuff.
Amazing.
Any questions?
Yeah.
We're really blasting the brains of all the users with a lot of info.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
you guys
hopefully-
gave a really, really good in-depth demonstration there. I think you actually conquered the next couple of questions, which is really, really awesome. But
Nice.
yeah, I mean, I think the TLDR as well is that, you know, Lore has got some of the best yields going in on Scroll, and probably across all the layer twos, to be honest, and in Ethereum as well. So you guys definitely need to go and check that out after this call. A lot of cool opportunities there. But yeah, feel free to drop some questions into the chat box as well. I'm just having a look now to see if we have any. But yeah, I guess
happy to hear that we covered a lot of what was asked originally. That's nice. It's nice to hear.
Yeah. No, it's really good. Like, I was looking through the docs myself a little bit earlier and before this call, and this video has helped me a lot too. So I hope it helps everyone who's listening as well. And I know like lending and borrowing can be a bit complex. And as you said, if you're a newer user, maybe something like the stability pool for where you deposit loreUSD and capture liquidation fees. I think if I'm remembering correctly, that's something that's a lot more simple for people to do as well. But in any case, like you can always play this video back because Charles Sampson gave a great tutorial on how to interact with pretty much everything on Lore. So all the tools you need are in this stream.
Yeah, I guess one other thing I'd like to just go over briefly that was mentioned at the beginning is how we launch the token, and what our plans are moving forward. So we have been, over the last 2 months, have been doing what's called an IFO, which is an initial farm offering. So we didn't do any sale of Lore. We didn't do any public sale, any private sale. We essentially just hit the market and just started streaming Lore tokens to our lending markets, as you can see with these little green plus signs here. So essentially, instead of having any pre-sale or selling tokens initially before the token is live, we said, hey everybody, come farm the token, and that's how you get exposure. Come, use our protocol, and you will get the initial supply of the token. So we had planned to emit 25% of the token over 3 months, which is a lot. I mean, the impetus behind this was, fairness for the users and just decentralization in general. We want to directly reward people that are using our platform. Points programs are getting a bit tired at this point, if I'm being completely honest. I think a lot of people are kind of fed up with them, and so that's how we decided to get the token into the hands of the community initially. So like I said, we'd planned for that to be over 3 months. It's been 2 months now, and we have decided, if you go to our Discord and check, I think it's the most recent announcement, or maybe 2 announcements ago, we announced that we will be stopping the IFO in, I think, 11 days. I could get the exact date for you, but I believe it's on October 3rd. The IFO will stop, and the emissions will cut back by a lot. And the yield's still going to be good. We're still going to be incentivizing some markets, but it won't be as insane as it's been in the last 2 months. And yeah, the reason for that is we feel that we've reached a point where we achieved what we wanted to achieve. Maybe we were a little bit aggressive with the 25% over 3 months, but we feel like it's run its course and it's done the job. And now we want to kind of pull back a little bit and start being more efficient with our spending, and operate as kind of a regular DeFi protocol does, where we're not paying out a ton of the token every week. So yeah, just an update for everybody that the IFO will stop on October 3rd. You can still go in in the next 9 or 10 days and soak up this juicy yield before it reduces. But yeah, anything to add there, Samson?
No, I thought that was a really great piece to finish it on.
Great.
Get it while it's hot, everyone.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. Go on if you had more to go there.
No, I was just filling the space, as I like to do.
Oh, no worries. We have a question from Discord, actually. If you guys wouldn't mind taking a stab at it, let me bring it up real quick. Okay, cool. So someone has asked, what do we need to do to unlock the upper range of the APRs on the state tab in OLore?
Nice, really good question.
Yeah, great question.
Yeah, indeed. Samson, do you want to take this one, or I'm happy to?
You go ahead, Charles.
All right. Yeah, so this touches on what our emission token actually is. So this, if you see this OLore tab at the bottom, what the user is talking about is this discount rate. So essentially, what we emit is what we like to call a coupon or a discount for the opportunity to access liquid lore. So this OLore, this option token is what it's called, works really well with our IFO because essentially we emit OLore, and then what people can do with OLore is access liquid lore at a discount. Now you can see currently discount is 23, almost 24%. So essentially what you would do is, let's say you have some OLore. I actually have some OLore in this wallet. I wonder if I can, okay, I don't have enough WETH. I need to get some WETH. But essentially you would earn OLore via the markets, and then you would offer, a little over 75% of the value of that lore in WETH, and then you would be able to access liquid lore. So as you can see, I'm offering 3470. I would receive the same in liquid lore. I just need to, pay some ETH to access that. This discount, this 23, almost 24% discount, is increasing over the life of the IFO. So part of the announcement that we made regarding the IFO is that this discount is going to reach the max, which is 50%, in the upcoming weeks. Let's see if I have that date as well. So the IFO is ending on October 3rd. November 11th, the max discount will be reached. So to the user's question, it's nothing that you can do on your end. We're basically just stepping up this discount over time, and eventually you will get a 50% discount to get liquid lore. So what sorry, go ahead.
Well, Charles, do you want to hop over to the market page?
Sure.
And just hover over one of those APRs, maybe like the USDC one. Totally. So let's just quickly talk about what we're looking at for a second here. So yeah, once you hover over it, you can see there's a range, right? The beginning range is 12.93. It finishes at 27.22. And what that means is that's the discount. The first number is the discount today versus the discount once it's 50%. Now, obviously, the price will fluctuate. So, you're kind of speculating on what it could be then. But this is the gross APR. So what that means is we've factored in the cost of purchasing or redeeming these option coupons into this APR. So this is what you're actually going to be getting paid. Like it's not like you're getting paid 12% and then paying 75% of that 12%. We've already factored that calculation in. I hope that's clear.
Yeah.
I'll pass it back to you,
really,
Charles.
Yeah, really good point. Yeah, so this accounts for you redeeming. Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I guess the reasoning behind this is so that we can, goes back to the original sustainability question, where because we're offering so many emissions so quickly, we want to be sustainable and we want to be able to service those emissions on our side. So essentially, the wrapped ETH that people are offering to access liquid lore is, at one point or another, all going to make it back to lore stakers or those, using lore over time and providing liquidity and things like this, trading loreUSD, minting loreUSD. So what we do with this wrapped ETH is, if I can go to the stake tab, reward stakers with, or so part of this, you can see the wrapped ETH is actually most of the APR on this lore staking. Again, this should be a lot more
It's
diluted.
absurd.
So yeah, it's pretty absurd.
It is
Yeah, maybe
absurd.
people are waiting for the discount to go up. Who knows what participants are thinking, but essentially we can afford to pay out stakers in wrapped ETH. We will be adding liquidity to lore markets, loreUSD markets on Nuri, market operations like buybacks, things like this. So essentially, every time we emit OLore, we are accumulating wrapped ETH that can then go back into the hands of users that are aligned with what we're doing. So loreUSD minters, lore stakers, or LPs, providing liquidity on Nuri Exchange. So essentially, all this ETH that we're accumulating eventually makes it back to the end user. And this enables us to, once we stop the IFO, to be able to incentivize markets with a blue chip token, and to just bootstrap our little ecosystem here. Yeah, so hope that's clear. And yes, very important point that Samson made, that these APRs are already factoring in, the discount. And this 10% that you're looking at would be liquid lore.
Yeah, I mean, if you'll allow us the space, Liam, there's one other tab that we didn't cover that can maybe help illuminate some of the opportunity here. And I know this is technical, or like it may be information overload. Hopefully you guys are keeping up and digesting all of this, but the looping page is a really cool tool that is unique on Lore, on Scroll, and it basically allows you to deposit your collateral and then borrow that collateral within one transaction. Well, it's actually there's a couple approvals, but in terms of execution, it all happens in one block, and because of that, we can kind of stretch the money out really far. Up to three times the amount that you initially deposited. So turning like $11,000 into $33,000. And this just maximizes your rewards. And so the system here shows, how much you'll be paying in interest, but how much you'll be earning in rewards. Charles here going quite degenerate with a 4x leverage, which is fine. I mean, his health factor is not that outrageous, but he'll be earning, 49.56 after factoring in the cost of that interest and all of the costs to redeem those coupons and realize that yield.
Yeah, this is a pretty crazy. I mean, I'm sure you've all at least heard the word or familiar with the idea of leverage. It's the same outcome, right? You're just using a lending market rather than some other type of leverage via like a perps protocol or something like this. But this is essentially depositing ETH, borrowing ETH from that ETH, depositing it again, borrowing it again, and that's why it's called looping, where you're just looping and you're taking advantage of the positive yield that is gained from that. And I mean, 50%. I'm actually doing this on another wallet. I wish I was on that one. You can see, but I'm doing this with because it's just in my
let's check out
opinion,
USDC as well, Charles.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, even on the markets page, many of these right now are like, if you're looping, it's kind of absurd. I hate to use that word too much, but lore is being slept on. We need to unfurl the scroll. And
I mean, you can go as degenerate as you like. Go to the max, and it's like, okay, this health factor, it's a stable coin, so I'm pretty confident that USDC will not depeg. Knock on wood, everybody. But essentially, like you can loop a stablecoin pretty comfortably and earn this insane APR just with your USDC balance. And you're only paying 12.5%, and then the supply interest plus the rewards you're earning on the borrow side, you're earning this crazy APR here. So I really like this feature, and thank you, Liam, for letting us go a bit over time here. Really appreciate it, but I love this feature because a lot of users do this process manually by other lending markets where, they'll deposit, they'll borrow, they'll deposit again, they'll borrow. It's very laborious. There's a lot of transactions, a lot of gas spent. But with Lore, you can do it in one click, as it says right here. And I actually have a tutorial on this waiting in the wing. So I'll release that and join our Discord and watch any tutorials you want.
I'll quickly call out that there's also the unleveraged, so you can actually do that entire process in reverse, which is an absolute dream. It does mention there's a small fee, but there actually isn't. We'll get that fixed. There is no fee. You'll see the flash loan fee remains 0 when you're configuring it, but we didn't update the description. So yeah, no, definitely, it's meant to be easy to get in and out of these positions at the end of the day. And not encouraging, anyone going beyond their risk appetite by any means. But yeah, come check it out and join our community. We'd love to hear from you guys and hear what you want out of this toolkit that we aren't yet supplying. And we do have some other stuff cooking. We are really trying to pioneer lending with some fresh material that DeFi hasn't seen before, but we probably don't have time to get into that today. So I guess you'll have to have us back, Liam, for another show sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was just about to ask, what's cooking, but I mean, we can always do another episode and go a lot deeper into that. So yeah, more than happy to link up with you guys again. Had a great chat today. And thank you again for going so far in depth with the video demonstration. That was really cool. And I think our community will take a lot from this. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks everyone for coming.
Thank you for the stage time, and nice to share with you all. And enjoy the rest of your week.
So to all of our listeners, obviously, there are some very juicy yields being slept on with Lore at the moment, so make sure you head over to lore.finance and check it out for yourself. Check it out after this call, have a look. Follow along on X as well and jump into the Lore Discord. I'm sure Samson and Charles will be in there to answer any questions that you guys might have. But yeah, other than that, that basically concludes the spotlight party for today. Thank you to everyone who joined, of course. And maybe for Charles and Samson, if you want to just maybe drop your handles, how can people follow along with you guys on X? Feel free to drop your usernames here. And people can check out what you guys do on Twitter as well.
Sure.
You can find me. Go ahead, Charles.
I'm trying to figure out how to use the public chat. I don't think I can. But anyways, I'm at Charlie_DeFi on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm at BitSamson on pretty much everything. So you can hit me up wherever suits you best. And looking forward to meeting some new people. So yeah, come on through.
Absolutely. Cool. So jump into the Discord and follow these guys on Twitter. They will help you out and show you the way. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining, and have an amazing rest of the week. So yeah, thank you again. And